So, hello, everybody. This is Rosie Aronson coming to you from the Dream Arc headquarters. And it is my total honor and pleasure to introduce you to one of my favorite people in the world, Ilan Shamir, who is an artist and a healer and a drummer and a poet and a New Mexican neighbor of mine, a Dream Arc contributor, and my birthday sharer. We both have the same birthday. And Ilan has been very prolific in his life, as he's been absolutely true to himself. He has presented over 250 programs nationally and internationally for all kinds of audiences. He's been featured in over 100 major print and broadcast media, including the Wall Street Journal, Money Magazine, London Times, National Public Radio, All Things Considered, and more. So I am just so absolutely thrilled to be here with you, Ilan. He used to live in the casita inside of my house before we even moved to this place. So I feel your energy all the time. And I would just love for people to hear your story, because we've got a very special offer, an invitation that we're going to be giving, but we're going to save that for later. So just stay tuned for that. But we would just love to hear how did you get to be Ilan Shamir?
Thanks, Rosie. It's so great to see you and be part of Dream Arc and share with you out there about my story. I love my story. I love my life. I love what I dreamed to become and everything. It wasn't always that way. Inside of me as a child, it's like I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be things that I wasn't. And I had doubt, I had fear, was I good enough? All those things came into playing, and I just stayed with it. There was a quote that said, persistence is the last key on the ring. And that was one of the guides of my life. And I just stayed with staying true to myself and learning to turn away the things that were not true to me so that I could live my true nature. I didn't even know what my true nature was, but I just had a feeling. And I could tell when I wasn't living in alignment with my true nature. And I knew that I had gifts. I knew that I had talents, but I kept them close. I kept them close because it's not easy to share them. Will they be received? Can I make a living with my gifts? I started working with 7-Up, the Uncola. These are cola nuts and these are Uncola nuts. And commercials on a national basis, and then had a great time learning about marketing, and then I went on to develop candy bars for Willy Wonka, and then do other things, and then came to a place where I go, no, I'm going to turn down this advertising manager job for $100,000 salary in the late 70s to work in a tree farm in Oregon for minimum wage. It all comes down to, am I going to live it or am I not? And so I worked in the tree farm, and from there, my life has unfolded in beautiful ways. So as I told you, I got all these things that are inside of me. I have art, I have music, all the different parts of me. I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, performer, I run companies, nonprofits, been able to manifest it. But it came down to the fact of, well, should I be like, wear my suit and show up? Or should I live my true nature? Decided. There's only one path. The path of Ilan Shamir. Protector of trees, life, and celebration is given to me by my friend Jack. And so I said, I'm not the greatest musician, but I don't have to be. Hey malama hikaya, hey malama hikaya, hey malama pono hikaya. Earth and sky, sea and stone, hold this land in sacredness. Anyway, it just felt good. And people didn't say, yo, it's got to be perfect. I got over that perfection thing. And I played the harmonica and the piano and the drum on my path to living my true nature. So, where did I turn to learn to live my true nature? I had wonderful mentors like Robert Bly and Michael Meade, Neil Armstrong, the astronaut, Hondo, who was a Texas legend in the country music, and he was an Imagineer. I have connected with so many mentors. And I didn't say, oh, I can't be like them. I just said, you inspire me, teach me. So I would just be open, and they would be generous with who they were. And I just did one thing after another and began to say, I don't have to leave any part of me behind. I don't have to leave the musician, this part, that part. I can have it all. And I have lived a life of living it all. And it's beautiful. I am proud of myself. I'm proud of the courage. I'm proud of the persistence. I'm just humbly proud that I could see what's possible with us humans to live our highest and best selves, but also to live it and be of service. It's not just about me. Sure, I want to make a good living, and I have made fabulous living, but I've also learned to give back, to inspire others, to fund others' projects, to do environmental things in my companies, to be able to replant trees for all the paper we've used. We've planted 150,000 trees, and they're growing. It's a beautiful testament to what's possible. So I think I'm just getting started. I think I'm just have so much more to share. I do love my life. I love life with my family. And that's what it's like, living my true nature. Rosie, back to you.
Thank you so much, Ilan. Oh my God, just rub off on me. Rub off on me. That's what I want. That's what I want for everybody.
Everybody, I want to send blessing to everyone.
Okay.
Everyone, that you can live your true nature, that your power to be exactly who you are. You do not need to leave any part of you behind. You are needed. Your gifts are welcome. There is a welcome mat at the portal of opportunity. All you have to do is step into it and learn and grow and become and celebrate your true nature. Blessings to each of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that blessing and for all the ways that you bless us humans and the planet. And I would love, Ilan, because part of what we're going to be connecting together, collaborating on, is this work that you've been doing with planting trees and the Dream Arc. And so I would love for you to share a little bit more about this tree planting project. 150,000 trees, that's a lot. That's a significant amount. And maybe you can share a little bit about, how that came to be and how do you do that? Where do you do that? What kind of trees? Anything you want to share with that.
Yeah, thanks. I love trees. My name actually, Ilan Shamir, means protector of trees, life, and celebration. It was given to me by Jack Gabriel, a mystical rabbi who I just said, can I have a new name? Or how does one get a new name? And I came out with a new name. So sometimes it's as easy as that. When I was 11 years old, my Uncle Stanley and Aunt Barbara, who knew who I was, gave me a magnolia tree for my 11th birthday. It was only about 3 feet high. The trunk was as big as a pencil, but I planted that tree in the earth, and we grew up together. It taught me so much, as nature teaches me every day. It has such wisdom, how to grow, how to let go, how to reach out and branch out and provide shade for others. In this magnolia tree, we grew up together, and it's been so beautiful to have that as a guide early on in my life. So I love trees. I climbed trees. This was in San Antonio, Texas. And it was just amazing to go up in the Arizona ash trees and be in the shade in the hot summer days. And I just had this connection. And I honored it. And I nurtured it. And when I went away to college, I called and asked how's my brother? Fine. How's my mother? Fine. How's my tree? My dad said, they cut it down. No. This was my best friend. He said, well, we moved away. And the new people wanted more light in the yard. More light in the yard. Oh, my God, this was my best friend. And I told my uncle who had given me the tree, and he says, no, they didn't cut it down. We just moved it. And he showed me in the backyard this giant tree. But he seemed to understand the importance of nature, the importance of that tree to me. So that set the stage for my life, loving trees. And as I told you before, when I turned down that big job for minimum wage, it was in a tree farm in Oregon. And I was out in the trees, planting trees, having a beautiful time with them. I wasn't worried about the money. I was just living fully. And because I didn't know how I was going to pay insurance and all the food and everything, I planted a garden. And from that garden, it inspired me to come up with an idea called greeting seeds, greeting cards with seeds inside. And we sold 25 million of those cards. They said things like, thanks a bunch, with carrot seeds, and I like to hug you till you're squashed, and with squash seeds, a friend like you is worth a mint, and hope your birthday blossoms into another good year. So I took what I learned from 7-Up, and I knew I didn't want to sell soft drinks with sugar. I could take what I learned, my marketing, and use it to make what I felt was my life and what was important. And that's promoting nature and helping people feel connected with nature. So trees have been so important. And so I would live my life in 1993 when I had a really rough day in Colorado, Fort Collins, where I was. I managed to get outside, and I walked by this old 100-year-old cottonwood tree that I'd walked by many times. But this time I stopped, and I leaned against this old tree and seemed to wrap its limb around me, as nature often does when I take the time to be closer. And I felt its warmth, its comfort, its invitation. And I seemed to just go, hey, I need your help. I need your advice. I'm having a really rough day. And this tree said, stand tall, stand proud, sink your roots deep into the earth, reflect the light of your true nature. Go out on a limb, drink plenty of water, remember your roots, enjoy the view. That was advice from a tree that started my journey in 1999 of sharing the wisdom of nature. And advice from a tree, advice from a river, advice from a mountain, advice from a turtle, a bear, an owl, and about 600 different parts of nature have all shared with me their wisdom. And we've shared them in national parks. You've maybe seen the bookmarks and magnets, greeting cards, t-shirts, lots of items around. And so we use a lot of paper in our company, and so we replenished 150,000 trees to repay the earth for its generosity. And they continue to grow. I can't solve the world's problems, but I said, I'm going to plant trees until I figure it out. And that's been the foundation or the journey of planting trees So we have your the advice from nature is on a website, and um, we we plant trees. You can go on and plant a tree for a birthday for somebody, or 3 trees, or a 10 tree forest, to make using the consumer marketing to be a way for people to do good for the earth and good for others. And so it's been a good journey to see those trees grow and to make them available to others.
And now you're making them available to anyone who is drawn to the Dream Arc, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I met Rosie and immediately I'd say, well, here's a kindred spirit and how many beautiful things that she's doing. And I've always wanted to support your work, and you've supported mine. And last year, at the end of the year, we were talking about some ideas, and I thought, gosh, how can I support Dream Arc participants? How can I support the program? So I thought, aha, how about we plant a tree for each new Dream Arc sign up? And so that's what we worked out. So we've got 500 trees to plant, and hope that you will take advantage of that. Sign up, have a tree planted, be open to this amazing Dream Arc community to bring forth your true nature. I love my true nature, but it's your true nature is about your true nature. And I just support you becoming who you are even more and more, and sharing your gifts to the world and having abundance in so many ways. So if this tree can entice you, encourage you, bless you to sign up, then get out there and do it.
Oh my God. I'm so excited to be able to offer people this opportunity. So you sign up to honor your true nature to a total adventure called the Dream Arc, and then a tree gets planted in your honor. And Ilan, we only have just a couple of minutes, but could you just share what kind of trees might get planted and where they might be planted, just so people kind of get a visceral sense of what they're participating in?
Yeah, we work with lots of different organizations. One that I currently am supportive of is Sustainable Harvest International, and they set up in Honduras, Panama, and Belize at the current projects. And they work with farmers and families. So it's not just plant a tree and forget about it. It's plant a tree and have fruit come from it. And it sustains people. They have microloans. They the coffee trees and plantain trees, and it's just whatever the native tree is needed for that particular area, that particular time. But I really like the project because they get planted, they get cared for. No better thing than that.
Oh my God, so exciting. Thank you so much, Ilan. Really quick, we've just got like one more minute. Do you have like a way for people to learn more about you and the work that you're doing in the world?
Yeah, come see me in Taos, New Mexico. And if you can't do that, then I've got 2 sites. One is myadviceforlife.com, and you can go on and see all the advice items and everything. And the other one is I offer blessings online, and it's ilanshamir.com. Best thing I can see is you out there. It says the more people live in their true nature, the bigger and the better this party's going to be. Thanks, Rosie.
Thank you, Ilan.
Great work you're doing.
Thank you. Mwah.